Given our academic backgrounds, what was everyone's impression of Taiwan before they came here?
I did not have Taiwan on my radar at all because, yeah, my department was entirely, all the professors were from China. I started hearing about Taiwan from a group of Taiwanese exchange students that came to our university.
When I started studying at Warsaw University, I felt like the general, I hesitate to say narrative, but that was what most of people were kind of thinking of Taiwan is that, oh, it is just like a smaller China. Only after spending 6 weeks here and loving it, I realized a lot of things. Yeah, so to speak.
A lot of differences.
So, yeah. That it's basically like two entirely separate entities. Yeah.
My school actually required students to study abroad, and they only had programs in China. Literally just Taiwan never came up as a thought, and I didn't know to even think about it.
Before I came here to Taiwan, I thought there is only two sides, and when I came to Taiwan, I saw it's a lot more complex than that. Mm-hmm. So there's in Taiwan, there's actually people who consider themselves Chinese. Mm-hmm. There's people who consider themselves not Chinese, Taiwanese, who have a Taiwanese identity. There's Aboriginal culture. There's Hakka, lots. And so when you finally come here, you gradually learn about these things.
The most I've noticed about Taiwanese people is the generational gap in beliefs and understanding. And yeah, that's not something you can really realize unless you're here.
So I was wondering, does Taiwan need a separate field of studies, like China studies, for itself? Maybe Taiwan studies, because it's a separate entity in itself.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. It has its own history, its own language, Taiyu. It has its own culture and cinema and all these things. So I think it makes sense for it to have its own separate department.
The Taiwanese academic field is already doing a very good job. They come by various names. I know that for NTNU it's Taiwan Studies Department. For NTU it's Taiwan Literature and Languages Department, I guess. But it's just like basically they operate within the same academic field, yeah. We're already talking about the cultural diversity in Taiwan, that you have, it's kind of like composed. It was molded by so many different influences that I think that it totally deserves to have its own discipline that goes without saying, at least for me.